So I tried Vero for the last 30 days, posting every single day and giving it a bit of a go from the perspective of a photographer. And I have some thoughts that you may or may not agree with. So in this video, we're going to be going through some pros, some cons, an interesting thing that happened to me with the CEO of Vero during this challenge, and then some thoughts about it and whether or not I'm going to keep using it and whether it might be a good app for you. So let's start with a little bit of context. A month ago, I released this video and said that I wasn't really happy with Instagram recently, and I couldn't really recognize it as the place that I used to love posting to. And that still hasn't changed. For the most part, I'm still as confused as ever as a photographer as to what I'm going to do on and with that platform. But anyway, I said that I was going to use Vero for a month and really try it out as a photographer. And to be honest, I went into it really not having any expectations of what I was going to get out of it. And honestly, I didn't really have any solid goals about it, or I just wanted to see how it went. I just wanted to go in there with zero expectations. And for me, it ended up being a bit of a waste of time. But let me explain. You see, Vero, as it stands right now, is for a very specific user. And I discovered that I am not that user. So Vero is not for me, but it may very well be for you. Vero, in my opinion, has one of the better photo consuming experiences out there compared to most apps. And I love the higher quality images that you can post there. I love the fact that you can zoom with those images as well and, swipe through a gallery with different crop ratios and all that kind of stuff. It's such a fantastic breath of fresh air. It's so nice. Consuming photos and posting photos on Vero is great. And I get why people would be attached to that experience. And if that's what you're looking for in an app for your photos, then Vero is for you because it is great at doing that. It also has some other features like posting different content types, and I found myself, posting links here and there, and I really like the idea of, having the flexibility to do so and to share in that way. I think it's really fantastic. And I also really like the idea of being able to share with different levels of people, like close friends, acquaintances, or everyone. And I think that level of control is great. And, I would love if Instagram had a better version of the close friends feature that looked more like that. Like, I would totally be all over that. But again, Vero is not for me. And it doesn't align with my goals online, and it's not where I want to spend my time. I try not to spend that much time on my phone as it is. And for those precious moments where I am on my phone, using Vero never really felt worth it for me in terms of the time or the effort that I spent on it in the last month for a plethora of different reasons. 10 days into the challenge, I posted a tweet saying that I missed Instagram and that I wanted to end this challenge early and go back. And, I listed out a bunch of different thoughts and reasonings that I had against Vero. And this is the part where it kind of gets interesting. So in this tweet, I outlined 4 main reasons why I didn't really like the experience of using Vero. And in case you missed it, I'll talk about them here in this video. So the first one is that none of my friends were on Vero. And I don't just mean my photography friends, I mean my regular friends. A few of my friends recently had babies, and I missed all of their stories and, sharing their lives and their special moments. And I hate that. As much as I dislike reels, I dislike the idea of being disconnected from my friends even more. And one of the main things that I do enjoy about Instagram is that I have 3 separate accounts for 3 separate reasons. And I'm on both the business side of things and the personal side of things. And I really did miss out on the things that my friends were up to, and that really felt bad. The second thing was that I was really looking forward to seeing if there was a community to build on Vero. And, within the first post, I realized, shit, there are no threaded comments here, and replying back to everyone is such a tedious task, especially with, how crazy the UI just throws you around after every time you comment. It's such a pain in the ass. And honestly, this put me off commenting altogether for the entire month because I realized that in many ways, Vero isn't yet optimized for community engagement in the way that I like to engage. So that's a huge bummer for me. And then the third thing, and this may be the most contentious point perhaps, but I was never actually against having an algorithm in the first place. I really like the algorithm. The algorithm means that I can get fed images from fantastic photographers that I don't follow and I would have never have seen or discovered because I can't be bothered to look through the discovery page. And I'm never in the mood to deliberately find new photographers. I'm not the kind of person who actively seeks other photographers' works at this stage of my career. But having an algorithm allows me to have a slow trickle of discovery on autopilot with zero effort. Now, sure, I know Instagram's algorithm is trash, but I also highly curate who I decide to follow. So, even without the algorithm, most of the time my feed is actually super clean and manageable. And on Vero, I missed discovering new people in my feed because barely any of my friends are on there. So my feed was always stale and there was never any new content. And I understand that this is my own doing and my own fault, but it's also how I like to use the app. And speaking from, a product design background, a well-designed app should cater for use cases like me because I know I'm not unique in that regard at all. And then perhaps the last and biggest thing for me is that I actually really, really missed stories. I had so many ephemeral moments during this 30 days that I wish I could have shared with you guys. But on Vero, there's no opportunity to share those moments. Every single post feels like such a polished and momentous event, and not having a way to share those smaller moments is yet another way that I'm not able to communicate with and engage with and nurture my community. And honestly, the entire experience of using Vero just felt like a one-directional blast out into the void rather than an actual conversation. Now, after that little tweet thread that I wrote, the CEO of Vero, I think his name is Ayman Hariri, I hope I'm not butchering his name, he actually jumped into the tweet and replied to the entire thread. And he was mentioning things like, threaded comments are on the way and that they were working on a new discovery page. And he was saying that he would like to actually connect with me on Vero to tell me more about the features coming up. And I didn't take him up on that offer, but I did find it really refreshing that the CEO of all people was looking out for the community. It was nice. But at the same time, that also speaks volumes to just how small Vero actually is, in my opinion. And I think that's a good segue to the topic of engagement for those people who are looking to use Vero for a more commercial purpose, because I saw a lot of people talk about engagement on Vero being better than on Instagram. And well, sure, the numbers are higher from a percentage standpoint. You can't deny that. Everyone is kind of forgetting about the value of the platform that they're on. Listen, if you're playing the game to get followers or get business or, become an influencer or whatever, that's fine. I'm not judging you or whatever. But if you're playing this game, you have to realize that a like is not a like is not a like. A follower is not a follower is not a follower. A follower or a like on Vero is not the same in value as a like or a follower on Instagram. And a follower on Instagram is not the same value as a follower on TikTok. And a follower on TikTok is not the same value as a subscriber on YouTube. They're all different. And depending on your goals, they're all going to be worth different values. So just because bigger number on Vero is bigger than bigger number on Instagram, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's objectively better. And if you're playing the game, what are you even going to do with those numbers, right? Does 10x more likes on Vero mean 10x more business for you? Or 10x more social clout or internet points? What does it mean? And does it meet your goals? Now, I didn't go into Vero with those intentions, really. I chose not to have any assumptions about what the app was going to be good for, and I decided to just use the app for a month to actually see for myself what it had the potential to be good for. But because of those 4 points that I mentioned previously, I probably won't be focusing on Vero too much moving forward. Maybe just the odd cross post here and there if I remember to do it. Now, again, this may or may not align to your perspectives or experiences or whatever. I'm just sharing my own views, right? Something that I wanted to talk about is that it seems like every single time I do a video talking about this kind of social media stuff, people can forget that everyone has different reasons for using different apps. Everyone has different goals, different schedules, different priorities when thinking about where to spend their time and their attention on their phones. And if your personal reasons for using either Instagram or Vero don't align with my reasons, then that's totally cool. Move on. I've seen so many keyboard warrior zealot style comments fighting for both Instagram and Vero, for the purposes of a photography portfolio or getting business or clients or keeping up to date with their friends and every use case in between. And to some extent, they're all correct in their own way, but having empathy for others and the perspectives that they share is important as well. So with that said, do you think Vero is for you? Because I think if your intention or your goals for the app is to have a place where the experience of sharing and previewing your images is your main concern, and you want to do that because you want a nice place to show off your images and have other photographers and only other photographers look at them, then I think Vero is still great. But if that's your intention, then I actually think that there are other better apps that you could be doing that with. Ironically, I think that Vero is actually going to go the way of the IMs and the 500pxs and the Flickrs of the world in terms of adoption. But the cruel twist is that, in my opinion, those three apps are far better places for you to have your photography presented as a portfolio specifically compared to Vero. But what about Twitter? I mentioned Twitter in my video about a month ago as well. And honestly, I really like Twitter. I like it quite a lot, actually, because it feels to me more like a two-way street in terms of dialogue between creator and community. And I actually personally really enjoy the written word just in general as a media form itself. So overall, I will be continuing to post regularly over there. So come and follow me at HeyPatK. But as for Instagram, well, honestly, I am still confused as ever on it and still feel a little bit betrayed by it, if I'm honest. But I'll still keep using it begrudgingly, and I will also keep an eye out for what's on the horizon for them and, what's in the social media landscape. All right, that's it. I'll see you online. Peace.